Hi everyone. Apologies, we had a little bit of technical hitch, but there are still people coming in, so you wouldn't have missed anything anyway. We'll just give it a minute as I can see people come in all the time, and we'll get going. Okay, we seem a little low on numbers, but if we get started, Jack can let people in as they get here. So, welcome to our presentation today on Priority 25.1 and the helpful features that are included in this release. We're taking about 30 minutes of your time today. And yes, this is being recorded. So if you have to drop out, there will be a recording probably online. Um, Aside from that, I'll save the questions for the end and let's get started. Okay, so what are we going to cover today? So we're going to look at improvements to priority, improvements that are available on the cloud, and some app improvements as well. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the homepage. Now, those of you on 25.0 will probably recognize this, so it isn't a brand new feature for 25.1, but it's also not as well known about as some of the other features. So I'm just going to take a couple of minutes just to mention it. So you can see on the right-hand side that I've got my shortcuts. Now, this is what you'll be used to. And then I've also added another section for my work. The other thing I wanted to mention is obviously if you can see the purchase order ones on my work, we've now got like a round circle which explains your to-do list. There's a little bin icon in the bottom left corner there. And there is a plus and a magnifying glass. The magnifying glass will take you into any form in search mode. The plus will take on data entry mode. You can move these around, and there's also a specific section now for the charts that you get on the homepage as well. Okay, let's start properly with Priority Analytics. Since its launch in version 23.1, thousands of customers have adopted it, and Priority are continuing to improve it at pace. And they're doing that based on the customer feedback that they receive. One of the biggest additions in this version is the Advanced Analytics module. This is available for cloud customers. It brings a more powerful analytics experience with advanced AI capabilities. So now you have the ability, after you've generated a chart, to analyze with AI ERP. You'll immediately receive a high quality explanation. You can choose between executive level insights, detailed statistical analysis, or comparative insights. This will save a lot of time. It makes it easier to share findings with your team. And they've also added a dedicated report type for the predictive models. You can build AI-ready data sets based on sales invoices, shipments, returns, service calls, and more. And you can use them for forecasting. Now we'll move on to general priority improvements. And what you'll see throughout this presentation is some videos. Now, the video you're looking at here is for the user that I've created on my system. I've blocked them from being able to see anything in the sales menu, which you might have noticed at the top of the page, there was no sales menu there. So one of the features is that Priority Analytics now displays only the forms and fields for which a user has at least read permissions. Reports that include forms or fields the user cannot access will simply not appear at all. This also includes support for data permissions. So you'll see here that although I can still see some of the fields that are linked to the order, because now we use customer shipments as our base form, what you can see is that I can't click through like I could in the past, and I can elsewhere. Another improvement that has been added is smarter report and chart saving. They now display precise tooltips at exactly the right moment. So this is something that's been brought up to me recently from a customer, that they struggled to know exactly what was wrong on previous versions of analytics. So now it will guide the user on what needs to be completed before saving. Is it missing a report name? Do you need to mark the input fields? Do you need to define axis in a pivot? The user will receive a clear contextual instruction. So the system will also take care of performance now. So it won't allow you to save a report without input fields. So those of us that have been using the system for a while might have had an issue where they've created a report in the past, they've run it with no inputs. It's eaten up a lot of space on the server. So now you cannot ignore input fields. So this should prevent large resource-heavy reports that could affect the customer's storage, which is obviously very important these days. Priority has also improved the field selection experience when building reports. Forms whose values are calculated dynamically when entering the screen, such as product availability, credit, or liability, will no longer be available for selection. This ensures that reports produce complete and accurate results and adds a layer of self-protection against using fields that aren't compatible with analytics. And again, we've seen real-world examples of not being able to get the data out despite the fact that the field exists in the past. So they've basically taken that away now. Okay, in the last version of Priority, they've added AI-powered rule creation. This version, they've taken it a step further with AI recommendations on the advanced search. It responds to natural language. You don't need to be a computer geek to get what you need from the system. And if we look here, we're on the customers form. I start off this with saying that I want documents from the last year. It's actually customers opened in the last year, but we'll go with documents in the last year. So we can see on there, we've got the date open 1st of Jan to the 31st of December. And the nice thing is you don't have to keep writing a new prompt every time. You can simply add to the prompt that's already there. So as it goes through, that's me thinking about what to add. We've got one that says, so it's now documents from the last year that are based in the UK. And so when it finishes searching, it then it adds country equals UK. And finally, and also have a postcode. So I'm just stacking, I'm stacking and stacking and stacking without ever having to go down to the subfield and get more and click fields basically. So now it's like postcode exists, the country is UK, and it's within the last year. And then I can do the search. So you can describe what you want to find, and AI converts it into search conditions. This will now combine with personalized recommendations as well to give you personalized AI recommendations. It's now quicker, easier, and more intuitive, as you can see in the video. Now, in this video, so in 25.1, Priority have added AI-powered editor for manual emails in the Compose Mail form. Users can now write polished professional emails with the help of AI, even when the email is sent manually. So what you can see in the video is I started off by saying, write me a paragraph about sales orders in Priority. It did that for me. I then made some changes, and at the end here, so I adjusted the tone to be more conversational, which it did. And then at the end, I just made some errors in spelling and grammar and then used the AI tool to fix that as well, which you can see it working on right now. And you can switch between the new editor and the classic one at any time. You'll notice that the screen looks different, probably than even 25.0, and this is part of Priority's new web UI. So a feature appeared on Priority in version 25.0 That was called Advanced Delivery Planning, or ADP. This feature came from Soft Solutions, and that is now a full product inside our ERP. For anyone who doesn't know or might have missed it, ADP helps the user in every step of planning deliveries from start to finish. It makes the delivery process much easier and more efficient. You can see that the ADP screen does not look like a regular priority screen. It was designed to help the user plan deliveries in a simple way. The screen's divided into three parts to make the work easy. A section that shows documents for delivery, a section for planning the delivery routes, and a visual section that shows the route on a map. But now, on 25.1, Priority have added even more power to the ADP. They've added AI-based route optimization. So for those of you out there that handle your own deliveries, you can make those even simpler, easier to use, and it will create smart and efficient delivery routes using AI ERP. So helping delivery planners save time on the road and also reduce fuel costs. The system uses an advanced algorithm that looks at the truck capacity, delivery time windows, service time needed at each stop, and special truck abilities. Then it automatically reorders the delivery stops in the best way. So delivery planners can run the optimization directly from the ADP screen and immediately see the improved route. So let's move on to Priority Mobile now. So this is going to be all about app improvements. So Priority have added support for attachment fields. So from now on, users can upload attachments really easily and intuitively in any form that contains an attachment type field, even if it's not a dedicated attachments form. So for example, uploading a picture for an employee card or part card. And on the right-hand side, you can see that they've improved the card view. So they've enhanced the layout, which is used to display multiple records, and even refreshed the design, making it easier to view all required information without unnecessary scrolling. They've added support for nearby fields in card view as well. That means you can configure fields to appear side by side instead of stacked vertically. You can present more information on the screen at once and work faster and more efficiently. So as you can see at the start of this video, which is hopefully going to be this bit because it's on a loop, when we click in, you can now define read-only apps in the mobile app from the application generator. This isn't what this one's doing, so let me just jump ahead and we'll jump back in a sec. So the end of the video, this is the bit, the next field focus. So when entering data in fields, when you click next, the focus automatically moves to the next field with no extra taps. This is something we're asked about a lot. People don't like the fact you have to click onto the next field. Well, now you just press the next button and it will automatically move you on. So for example, sales rep creates an order in the mobile app, enters the customer name, the app will automatically jump to the next field defined in the generator, such as the product bundle, sales type, or maybe date. So just let that finish off before moving on. Effectively, what you'll see at the start of the video when it re-loops around is that you can now actually define read-only fields in the mobile app from the application generator, giving you more flexibility in designing the mobile interface and allowing you to adapt fields to your specific workflows. So that's it finishing off. And hopefully the video will start again. There we go. Sneaky little tap there. So here we go. We're going into the customers form. We're going to have a quick search. Find a customer. And what you're looking out for is the country field when we get to that. Clearly need to work on my app speed. So we'll click into it. And scroll down until we find country. And there you go. You can see there, United States. You can't do anything with it. You can't change it. It becomes read-only. And read-only in this sense means it's just against a flat background. So Priority have improved and expanded the entire attachments area in the system. You can now edit images directly in the app. That's what we're going to look at here, and even draw on them. For example, a technician could take a photo of a broken device, mark the damaged area, and send it to the customer or to the main office. A warehouse manager can take a photo of storage areas, mark overloaded locations, and share it with the team for better planning. So here we go, taking a photo. That's the photo still. Then we can click on the little pen icon, circle the bit we're interested in, maybe tick another section in a different color, hit submit and save. And there you go, edited image directly into Priority through the app. And you can also upload and view videos in the app. So if a technician wants to upload a video of an issue, they can also easily review it before sending. So what we're going to see here is me taking a video, scrolling out, back in, too much coffee on my desk, and then uploading it. And it works in exactly the same way, goes into the same sort of attachments form. It's just uploading, see that there. And there it is within Priority. So, time to meet Priority's new field service application, a complete solution for managing service calls directly from the field. The app gives technicians everything they need: access to service call details, real-time part issuing, work hour reporting, navigation to the customer site, and digital signatures. It's supported on both Android and iOS devices and works smoothly for cloud customers as well as on-prem installations. So this is available everywhere for everyone. The app includes full service call management, an interactive map view, and more. While working on a call, the technician can update the repair type and status, manage parts, report hours, and document the repair performed. For example, a technician starts the day, opens the app, immediately sees all assigned service calls with one glance. They can share their route, customer information, a description of the issue, and notes from the service center. After completing the repair, they capture a digital signature, you can see that on the right, and navigate to the next call. On the way, they can review the service history and arrive prepared for a fast and efficient repair, so bringing down that amount of time it takes to service each customer. For those familiar with the previous system, the new Field Service app replaces the legacy Soft Solutions app, bringing a modern interface fully aligned with Priority's branding. And the key bit here, the application works offline and all data is automatically synced. So no worries if you're out in the middle of nowhere fixing a coffee machine, or you're right in the city centre with everyone using the data around you. It will be kept cached and uploaded once you get back online. So Priority have added several improvements to the rentals module: better calculation of equipment availability, a new report for expected rental income, and more flexibility when calculating the daily rate for partial rentals. Following requests from customers, that was meant to be a space there. So following requests from customers who approve purchase orders by email, Priority have added more fields to the emails sent for approving purchase orders and purchase requisitions. Now, when a PO or PR is sent for approval, you'll see more information, including the customer name and delivery date. So what I'm doing in this video here is just creating a purchase order. I'm sure you've seen all that before, nothing new there. But what we're going to do is trigger an email, and there is a little bit of a pause between the purchase order going into begin auth and the email coming through. So I thought I'd talk through this bit. I should have gone into begin auth. And whilst we wait for that to come through, I'll just mention that they've also added smart order tracking, which tracks the status of each order line. From now on, you can set automatic updates of order line status based on changes in linked logistic documents. You choose which documents and which statuses should affect the order line. So you get full control over lead times and logistics processes without manual mistakes. And as suspected, there is a bit of a gap waiting for the there it is, and here comes the PO, and you can see on there that it's got the name of the company it's come from and also the date. Okay, on to ATP and planning. In previous releases, Priority's already added the available to promise planning capability for the manufacturing system, and in this version they've extended it to our commercial system as well. With a single click from the order line form, the user can run the ATP plan to see immediately whether the requested items can be supplied in the desired quantities and dates, or, if not, what the earliest possible delivery date is. You can drill down into the ATP results by item to get a full picture of inventory availability and any bottlenecks along the supply chain. The calculation takes into account current stock levels, expected receipts based on purchase orders, vendor lead times, transit times, and inspection times. So for those buy-sell operations, this gives you a great window into what delivery dates you can promise to your customers based on the vendors you have available to you. When ATP is calculating a feasible delivery date, it also looks at the vendor defined on the order line, vendor for purchasing. The benefit of this is that a planner can switch between the designated vendor on the fly and immediately see how that change affects delivery schedules and order confirmations. Really handy for those of you that have the option of buying locally, buying in Europe, or buying in China. You could already compare the price. Now you can compare the impact on timing as well. In this way, we're giving the organization a powerful new tool to refine purchasing decisions, shorten lead times, and better meet customer commitments. So Priority have also added vendor level planning data to MRP and purchase planning, especially useful when the same part is bought from multiple sources. You can now specify each vendor's lead time, minimum order quantity, and order multiple, rather than only setting these parameters at the part level. Another new feature in this release is the ability to assign a manufacturing site when running branch level MRP. You can now designate a default production site for each item. If an item appears in a BOM, you can set its manufacturing site at the BOM level as well. In real time, you can also allocate specific customer order lines to different production sites. This flexibility streamlines planning and ensures better coordination across branches and manufacturing locations. It's one for those of you out there using manufacturing and MRP by branch already. That's a lovely new feature. Finally, they've enhanced multi-level reservation in the BOM. When you plan production for a multi-level BOM, the system creates a parent planned order that drives demand for the next level, and so on down to the lowest BOM levels. With the new reservation chain feature, you can look in each parent planned order for its corresponding child orders, establishing a fully reserved chain through every level of the BOM. So let's move on now, and we're going to talk about some new features in the finance area of the system. So firstly, they've invested in improving the revenue recognition module. They've added more flexibility and better control, including the option to exclude specific documents from recognition, control over whether journal entries stay pending after recognition, and the ability to use the exchange rate of the original transaction when needed for accounting. Now, for those of you using the meter billing module, the ability has been added to define different minimum commitments for different periods. You can set date ranges with specific minimum quantities, or even remove the minimum during certain periods, for example, in the summer months when the organization is less active. And for those of you using COGS, Priority have improved the perpetual inventory mechanism. These updates add more accuracy, control, and transparency by recording detailed inventory by part, adding new alerts and controls to prevent posting mistakes, splitting the variance account to track gains and losses more clearly. And the one that I hear about quite a bit on site, they now allow you to analyze gaps between logistics inventory and financial inventory even before you close the period, allowing you to see potential issues before they arise and plan for them accordingly. Okay, so let's have a look at the new features in the invoice area. I'm going to start off talking about what's in this particular video. So this is added support for splitting invoice lines. Now, a lot of you will know that you can split goods receiving note lines now, but now you can also split invoice lines. So this helps in common cases where invoice is created before the goods arrive and the quantities either don't match exactly or they come in multiple parts. So you can see this in the above video. So what we're doing here, we've completed a GRV for 184 of the item, but we're going, sorry, the purchase order and the invoice for 184. That should all be done. And what we're going to do is split them into two GRVs, one for 84, one for 100 of the item. And at this point, the invoice is already closed, meaning you wouldn't be able to normally link those GRVs backwards because they're different numbers. But what we can see here in our invoice as we go into it is we go down to the line. And we have a sub level underneath for invoice splitting, split invoice line. And what you can put in here is the quantity, the GRV number, and then the line on the GRV. It just takes a couple of seconds to get through this one. So we're going to select our first GRV first. I was having fun with the drop down, as you can see. So you can see our two GRVs in the list there. So we'll select the first one first, then move on to the next line and select the second one. And just while it's doing this, I'll just mention there's a new option for manual withholding tax, both at the invoice level and the payment level. This feature, you can enter the withholding tax amount manually. Now, you see there was an action button to split the invoice line, and you can see everything's gone blank, but don't panic at this point. Once we come out of the form, you'll notice that both lines then exist. And there you can see them, one for 84, one for 100. Now, some of the other features that I want to talk about on this page is a tax calculation date field for all sales invoices. You'll see this in the video briefly on the next slide. So from now on, you can set a tax date that is different from the invoice date. You can also set the tax date at line level. Now, if you wanted to create an invoice for goods that were delivered in a previous period, you can set a tax date that reflects the delivery date. That way, you can control the VAT period. This is something long asked for by my Making Tax Digital customers. They've also added a new program that lets you copy an existing over-the-counter invoice quickly without typing all the details again. And what you'll see in the video on the next page is a, in fact, let's just go to it and I'll talk you through it instead. So on this one, what we've got now is an extension of the copy invoice form. So the first thing we're looking at is the field for the VAT calculation date. But moving on from that, what we're doing here is we've got a 000 part, which you guys will all know that you can overwrite the part description. That now copies. And we've also added a couple of profit centers in there as well, which also now copy. So we go to actions, we finalize our invoice. Excellent. And we go to copy. So hopefully you all saw that the description and the profit centers were different. We tick the new field for the text for parts. It will run through and it's opened us a new invoice. We go into that and you can see that not only is the description still there, but also the profit centers are as well, which is really popular. And I'm guessing Priority are going to keep adding those sorts of features as we go through. Okay. Finally, I'd just like to quickly talk about reconciliations. Priority have added the option to select accounts directly in the split reconciliation screens. Now, when you click the select account button, you can jump straight to the account you want without scrolling through all available accounts. They've also improved the automatic detection of accounts and invoices from bank statements. The system now includes advanced automatic recognition that makes bank reconciliation faster, easier, and much more accurate. Instead of matching items manually, the system now identifies the relevant customers, vendors, main accounts, and invoices automatically. And there's also a new feature that allows you to record bank transactions directly whilst prepping receipts, journals, and payments. Okay, thank you for listening today. To sign up for version 25.1, please get in contact with support. There's an email address on the page, and I now welcome any questions. I think they're in the chat rather than the Q&A. Just bear with me 1 second. Does the multi-level BOM affect purchasing by stacking lead times? I'd probably have to look in more detail to that, but how I'd expect it to work is that it will purchase based on the lead time for the lowest common denominator. And obviously, if you can't get something for the bottom of the BOM level, that will then push back the further levels up the bill of materials to compensate. Can AI assist with production planning? It's not a feature in Priority yet, but I can see it going in that direction. Is the ATP result a drop down from the sales order? It's a procedure on the sales order item line. So you run it, and then there's a sub level where it puts the results for you. Can the field service app show tasks for the service calls? I'm not 100%. I'll get back to you on that one, but I believe so. Okay, I'd like to thank everyone for their time today. If you have any further questions, you can send them over to me, or alternatively, get in touch with support. Thank you. Bye-bye.